quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
What is going on, everybody? We are here. We are live. It is time for another edition of Renegade Recap. Oh my, oh my, oh my, Jeff. What a day it is going to be today. Yes, cheers. I see you've got your 805. I have my frothy beverage left over from the movie theater, going to my double feature.
Computer engaged Teresa mode.
Right?
Day, man. Oh boy. Anyway, carry on, my wayward son. Hopefully there'll be peace when we are done.
Yeah. Don't you cry no more.
No, I ain't crying. I'd be yelling. I don't know about crying. We'll see how that goes.
So, anyways, it's the beginning of the month.
It's the first of the month. It's the second thing.
It's time for another recap / preview / all the above, Jeff.
Yes. Now,
I was going to say, why don't you go ahead for a minute? I'm going to throw the link out there for the people to come into. Why don't you talk a little bit about what we did this last month?
Because Papa Jeff's on the phone today, because Papa Jeff's house sitting at house number 2 today because of shenanigans, which, we're the dads, so shenanigans, I guess, are always a thing with us. And, so I can't do anything except look at this phone and go, oh, look, I'm on TV. So, yeah, I had no control over social media. So it's in the Renegades' hands today, kids. Which is
a scary thing because I usually don't run the board on our shows.
No, you don't, which is a very scary situation. So basically what this gentleman to my right, if you're looking at reality, but left on screen because, we're talking about stage stuff. DC Comics and the movie adaptations that lay therein. And my goodness, what a strange viewership you attracted based on the numbers this month. And we'll get into that later because you gave me those figures this morning and I'm still, like I said, tasty beverage. That's how it started.
Yeah.
The number got me. I'm like, I'm still what the helling. So it's bizarre. But yeah, I mean, this was more of my wheelhouse as far as your superhero / action movies, because I've been a DC kid since I was a kid. And I almost wore the Joker hat today that I finally freaking found in the pile of doom that is my room as we're moving out of that house. But nice. I wanted to promote what I'm doing a week from today, shirt-wise. So I dusted off the old Royal Rumble style logo hat today because I found that today too. So it's been a day of finding things, just everything except my sanity. So it's all good. And then, of course, as you can tell by both our T-shirts, it be spooky time, kids. Yes. So, JJ's reflecting what he's going to be covering this month. I'm reflecting the awesomeness of my next week. So there you go. It's going to be one of those days where we are literally flying by the seat of our pants. Not a whole lot of promotion, and that's 100% my fault as the head of the table, if you will, on the Championship Network. All this is your wheelhouse, but yeah. Oh, somebody's watching. Hello, whoever you are. Hello, I love you. Anyway,
yes, welcome. My name is Renegade. I bid you welcome.
I was going to say, welcome, foolish mortal. Oh, he went away. Oh, we scared him off. Oh, shit. Anyway.
Typical.
Damn it. Flare other fans. Anyway. Speaking of that, it was funny. I was trying to DVR the Walt Disney World special last night that I still haven't been able to watch. And I heard a techno, like a pop version of just the music of the tune you hear when you enter the mansion. That dun, dun, dun. It was like an upbeat. I'm like, dude, Halloween party songs need to be refilmed. I was like, this is awesome. But that song is on the list. You're going to hear it anyway. So there you go. Yes. And Grim Grinning Ghost is great in any tone, except maybe opera. That'd be kind of weird. But maybe not though, because it's very, very classical organ music. So who knows? Anyway, But yes, JJ and I are here as we do right around the first of the month or so to recap, review, and preview what he has been doing over the last 30 or 31, or if we February 2029 days. Take it away, boss.
That I love the way you just did that there. So, as we always say here on Renegade Recap, grab your hot dog, grab your nachos, grab your tasty beverage, and strap in for Mr. Toad's wild ride, if you will, because with me behind the boards, anything can happen.
Yeah. If he's driving, we're going to hell for sure. Anyway.
I mean, you kind of touched on, it's been an interesting month over at Renegades Reviews. The DC films, I'm going to go ahead and call it what I feel it is. They're kind of polarizing to fans, especially in comparison to the Marvel movies.
Well,
now, films like Howard the Duck and Elektra notwithstanding, got to give it to Marvel. A good chunk of their films are respectable, if nothing else.
Right.
We can talk about Tobey Maguire going emo all day in Spider-Man 3.
Well,
but for every one of those, there's an Iron Man.
Yeah. And for every brief part of that movie, you've got Doc out of the previous movie going, shut up and quit complaining. So,
Very much so. Very much so. So we started off with the serials of Batman. And that was very interesting because I had never sat through those.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was seeing those for the first time.
Nice.
And
yeah.
I'm not saying I'll never watch them again, but it's definitely like a hard sell. It's not one of those things where you're like, oh, you know what? I feel like watching a movie today. What am I going to watch? Oh, I'll pop on the Batman serials. That's going to entertain me.
No.
There's so much filler in those because they're designed to be 15 to 20 minute, essentially a TV episode.
Right.
Serials were shown way back in the days, back before my time even. You'd go into the movie for your 50 cents, your 75 cents, whatever it was back then. You'd get a couple cartoons, a newsreel, a serial, and then you'd get your feature, sometimes even a double feature. And you'd get more cartoons and more serials. And it was just the big to-do back then. So essentially you're watching these 15 to 20 minute TV shows before the movie. And so when you come back the following week, a good 5 or so minutes of the next episode is the stuff that you just saw at the tail end, previously on.
Right.
Here's your recap. And then it starts to get into the meat and potatoes of the new episode. You cut all that out and you could probably make a nice little, say 2.5 to 3 hour film without a whole lot of repeat content. And it would definitely flow a lot better, I think. Jeff, I know you've seen those before. Would you tend to agree with me there?
Yeah, the fact that I own those on DVD is kind of they're collecting more dust than was in that Batcave in 1943. I'll tell you that right now, because it's just it's like I don't not enjoy them, but man, there's two things wrong. Like you said, they're very much filler. They're designed for that era, which is neither one of our era or even our parents' era, really. This was like when our grandparents were in their formative years. And number two, especially the villain in the first one, a little bit dated, little bit doesn't age well. Dr. Dak.
But it was perfect for the times.
Well, of course, because in 43 we were at war with the Japanese guys, so it's you
look at it from both sides of the coin. Yeah, it doesn't age well, but it was a perfect villain for the time.
At least in 49, they had the Wizard, which was just completely random. There was no, anything. But what I found funny is, by 1949, Batman had been around for
about a decade.
It saw a decade or so. No Joker, no Penguin, no Cat, none of them. So I found that, and to be fair, the Joker was introduced in 1940. I'm not sure about the rest of the characters. Before that, Batman was just, fighting, common criminals. The
Yeah.
Joker was the one to really, give him a test. So,
Well, they always said Batman was the world's greatest detective. That's why when they bring the Falcones and the Maronis into the movies, it's like, okay, this is getting back to the roots.
oh
When
yeah,
he was a detective fighting these mob bosses.
right. And I found it so we're jumping way the hell ahead here, but I found it wonderful that the villain that always called him detective in the most of the media, Ra's al Ghul, was the primary villain throughout the trilogy of the Dark Knight trilogy, really. So kind of a cool little touch there.
Yeah. From the serials, we moved on to the 60s era Batman, Adam West, Burt Ward, bang, pow, kablooey.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You say what you want to say. Was it corny? Was it cheesy? Of course it was. But dare I still say that Adam West and Burt Ward are the best Batman and Robin duo to ever grace the screen. Because, I mean, you got to figure the only other comparison you really get is either Kilmer and O'Donnell or Clooney and O'Donnell.
Yeah,
and then the serials.
Yeah. And to be fair, Kilmer and O'Donnell was more of Dick Grayson, bucking the Bruce Wayne system until the very, very, very end. And then the Clooney one, well, we'll get to Clooney later, but yeah, that was just a train wreck anyway. So,
yeah.
So yeah, I will co-sign on that. As far as live action performers go, Adam West and Burt Ward are the jam. Absolutely.
They are the dynamic duo.
This is why they were called. That's how they got their name, was those two guys. So there you go.
You may not think that Adam West is the best Batman. You may not even think that Burt Ward is the best Robin, but they are the best Batman and Robin pairing.
Right.
From there, we moved on to Metropolis, which was an interesting journey because aside from 4, I had never seen any of these. And honestly, rewatching 4, I don't remember it, but I know I had seen the Superman start to finish. And 4 comes right around the year where I would have been seeing more of those type of movies.
Yeah,
so that's why I pegged that one as it, but I really had very little recollection watching it, period.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that after watching that movie and Supergirl, you would have rather watched the remake of it at that point.
Seriously, I mean, I have always been anti-Superman because of the people in my life that were overly obsessed with him. But I've got to say, no, not you.
I know.
But I've got to say, I really enjoyed the first 3.
Yeah. Yes. Now, you said you watched the Donner cut of 2, correct?
Yes.
Did you end up watching the Lester cut as well?
I still haven't watched the Lester.
Okay, just
like I mentioned, I want to say when I did Justice League, which again we're getting ahead of ourselves on, but I went ahead and I did the theatrical version of that one because that's what falls in the DCEU.
Right.
So somewhere down the road when I do another month of comic book movies, because there's still a lot over there to be tackled. You've got the X-Men franchise, the Spider-Man franchise, you've got the Green Hornet, you've got stuff like Jonah Hex from DC, which got eliminated for some of the other movies. You've got the new Suicide Squad, which I didn't get to, even though it's still in theaters. So there's still a lot. And then you've got the more independent stuff. So there's still a lot of meat on the comic book bone. Yep. So I can always do the Lester cut another time with those.
Yeah. For future reference for everybody out there, my recommendation as a Superman purist, if you will, watch the Lester cut first. And I'll tell you why. That was the one that everybody saw in theaters in 1980. And it took that 26 years for the Donner, Dick Donner, and the producers to make nice again. And what they came up with was what you saw. The only problem I have with the Donner cut is that it's the same ending. And I say that because, like you talked about all month long, the first two were supposed to be one giant movie. And Warner Brothers and the producers went, Jesus Christ, we're going to have people in theaters for 5 hours. We can't do that. Hack right in half. Literally right down the middle. So I see why the Lester ending was what it was, and when you see it, you're gonna go, Jesus, what a hokey thing. But if you've seen 4, you know the ending to 2, and I'll tell you when we get there. But anyway, the fact that they just kind of recycled the whole turn the clock, turn the globe around, like, I get that was Dick's vision, but it's like, give us something else. Don't do the magic kiss because that's fucking stupid, but something.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, and that magic kiss in Superman 4, that's how the Lester one ends in 2. Same basic principle, and I always found that so stupid, like ridiculously hokey, And what's even funnier is there's a quote from Margot in 4, and she goes, "I remember everything." Like, all right, wait a minute, time out. As Rob Williams would say in his many time out. So he gives her the magic kiss at the end of Lester's 2, goes through the entire plot of 3 and the good chunk of 4 before he needs Lois's advice again, and somehow another unveiling of the costume mid-fall triggers her memory, and then the kiss restores the timeline again. This is why 4 is on the movie, not just of the worst hero movies of all time. It is legitimately on the list of the worst movies of all time, period. It is god-awful. It's just bad. Anyway, I totally went off on that. I apologize. I had to get it out there.
Hey, it's all good. I see we've got a couple people watching us. By all means, leave comments. Let us know what you guys think of these movies as we're talking about them.
Yes. Michael, I would tend to agree. We need it. There definitely needs to be a new Superman movie because we've got a new Batman on the horizon with Robert Pattinson, and I'm still very leery about that at this point. We'll see how it plays out. Because JJ and I do not make quiet about how we disliked Robert Pattinson's defining role so far. So God Almighty help us all.
Yeah. One of the actors we'll be talking about a little bit later in this broadcast would be rolling over in his grave if he saw Twilight.
Anyway, but as well as a wrestler we're very fond of and his ex-wife. Anyway, so I'd like to see Superman. I don't know if bringing Cavill back is the way because I think they're actually moving away from that DCU little bubble thing. So I don't know what they're going to do at this point. We'll see.
And I think that's a bad idea. I still think there's a lot of meat on that DCEU bone.
Right.
I would love to see Cavill come back.
Me too.
When we get to Man of Steel in a little bit, I'll say my piece on him, but I really would love for him to come back.
And the fact that DCEU was more of a gritty nature and, Henry's aging, but the whole thing is darker and grittier and beards anyway, so who gives a shit? So,
and there's de-aging tech. I mean, they've used it in a bunch of Marvel movies. They can use it in a DC movie if desperate.
Yeah, if they can actually project Peter Cushing's face over another guy and make Rogue One work, we good, kids.
Yeah. From Metropolis, we went back to Gotham.
Yes.
And we started the Burton Schumacher verse. We did all 4 of those in order because, believe it or not, there wasn't anything DC in the midst of that. It was Batman. The late 80s and the 90s was Batman.
Well, like I just said, Superman 4 didn't die on the vine. It hung itself with the last parts of the vine. Okay?
Yeah.
It was and Chris Reeve was done. He was just over it. So without Chris Reeve and without a decent ending to the last movie, the franchise is dead. So they had to go with the Bat, and damn it, did they?
Oh, yeah. They went all in. and the dividends paid off.
Somewhere on my favorite picture of me in the 1989 bat suit as a 6-year-old kid. That says everything for a Superman. There you go.
And I had a birthday party when I was a young boy that was all Batman themed.
Nice. Very nice.
So, I didn't have the costume, but my cake was Batman. It had the little Batman toppers on top of it, the Batman symbol on the cake. Like, after the Burton Batman, the 89, Keaton and Nicholson, I was invested in the Bat. I became a Bat fanatic, and it has never waned.
I only think I didn't latch onto the DC/Batman universe on like a baby to a teat, because the year after Batman came out, right around the same, well, actually it was in October of the following year, I discovered a little thing called professional wrestling, and the birthday party the year after, I was in my red and yellow bandana and my freaking, dollar store knockoff Hulk Hogan. Actually, no, I take that back. It was a Target purchase, because it was the tank top and that god awful plastic winged eagle that would break after one hit over the head with somebody, and the little Hulk Hogan figure with it. But damn it, I was Hulk Hogan for my birthday party that next year. So there you go.
There you go. But the Burton Schumacher verse, the Burton verse is celebrated. The Schumacher verse is always kind of hated on.
Yeah.
I read something, and me and Mikey discussed it when we did Forever.
Right.
That apparently the Forever and Robin is like an alternate timeline. It doesn't take place within the confines of the Burton part. And I call bullshit on that, because if that's the case, why is Alfred the same? Why is Commissioner Gordon the same? Why does Chase Meridian reference Catwoman from Returns? I call bullshit.
And why does the shooter of Thomas and Martha Wayne in Forever basically Jack Napier without showing Jack Nicholson's face? I mean, really. Same exact story, same exact basic premise. Funny story about Forever that I didn't get a chance to tell when I was doing the reviews review this month. There was supposed to be a scene where Bruce Wayne was even young, a little bit older, a little bit younger than the kid they ended up casting. I went to school with the kid that was the rejected kid.
Nice.
We were in school at the junior high school where Dylan is now, because this is 1995, and he disappeared for a few weeks. And his mom was a PE teacher. And we're like, "What's going on?" She's like, "NDA, can't say anything." And then when he came back and he got released, it was like, "Oh, okay, wow." So yeah, matter of fact, they actually mentioned it in the yearbook. He was scheduled for a cameo because they were going to leave him in for another part that ended up cutting that part too. But yeah, he was almost Bruce Wayne. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Derek, if you're watching, I miss you, brother. Hit me up.
I still love Batman Forever, and I can even give some props to Batman and Robin, because the whole death of Alfred storyline makes that movie for me.
Right.
Alfred is sick, so his niece comes to visit. Of course, she becomes Batgirl in this storyline, and is trying to work to save Alfred's life because of how much Alfred means to Bruce, to Dick, to Barbara. That part of the film makes it watchable for me.
Yeah,
the part with Coolio and him saying that he was going to become the Scarecrow in the next movie if they had kept going, again, I call bullshit, but at the same time, I kind of would have liked to have seen it.
I would have liked it if he
just glutton for punishment like that.
Yeah, I would have liked it if the Scarecrow would have died in the first 10 minutes of the movie. That's about it. I said what I said. He's a dick. Whatever.
Hey, he lived most of his life in a gangster's paradise.
One too many Grand Prix at Long Beach interactions for my taste. Anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. Acura Grand Prix. My bad. Sorry, Acura. The hell ever. Damn city.
Just call it the Long Beach Grand Prix.
Right. Exactly.
From the Batman, though, we went to an alternate Superman. We went to Steel.
Yes.
Shaquille O'Neal.
I hadn't seen that yet until we did this month, and wow.
You know, I watch it and I'm like, what's so bad about it? Is it corny? Is it hokey? Of course. Is it any cornier or hokier than the 66 Batman movie? No. Shaquille O'Neal's got the charisma, he's got the charm. He just exudes the personality through your screen.
True.
And you can't take your eyes off of him.
Right.
You know, some people may compare it to a train wreck. You can't look away.
Right.
I say that he's too charming for it to be compared to a train wreck.
Very true.
I mean, and you got to figure this was around the time he was coming to the Lakers.
True. True that.
The soundtrack was on fire.
Right.
For that film. You know, it's the soundtrack. It was the song that buried the beef between Ice Cube and Be Real from Cypress Hill.
Yes.
Because they both finally got onto the track together. And at the end of Cube's verse, he even says, no more beef with Cypress Hill. Now we're super friends, making super ends.
Oh, that's too funny. I love it. It's one of those things where, okay, my beef with Steel, being a Superman fan, was the fact that John Henry Irons the character was really fully developed out of the death of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the four that emerged, the reign of the Superman. And a lot less hokey, a lot less comedic, because John Henry Irons had been saved by Superman during the course of Superman's, watching over Gotham. Wow. Okay. 805 is done. Thank you. Over Metropolis, excuse me. And he took that role of not being Superman, but representing Superman very seriously. And while you're not going to get Shaq in a serious dramatic role, it's Shaq. It ain't going to happen. But I feel that in that, dare I say, stunt casting, they didn't do the character for us DC purists proper justice.
Okay.
Hindsight
2020. Hindsight 2020. Armchair quarterbacking here. Got Jeff Meacham, the great and powerful West Coast professor, on his couch there as he situates himself.
Don't believe too much.
In 1997, who would you have cast in his place?
Well, right, and that's the thing. There was no more prolific personality in the media in 1997 that fit the John Henry Irons description than Shaquille O'Neal. So of course you cast Shaq. I mean,
maybe Ving Rhames.
Maybe, but Ving, see, because John wasn't this big, tall, monster of a man. So Ving Rhames would have been good, but I've always seen Ving as more of a villain character. So I don't know if that would have worked. What would have worked if it wasn't so, Lord, I apologize, so typecast as a jackass? Tiny Lister.
Okay.
But he was already done Debo by then, so that wouldn't have worked, I don't think, in the media's eyes. They're like, no. So,
hey, who's the man who threw the detonator out the window?
I understand that, but
I'm just saying, even Tiny Lister had a face turned there in The Dark Knight. The guy that you thought would take that detonator and blow it up,
yep,
grabbed it and threw it out the window, sat back down.
I do what you should have did. It's like, yeah, but to be fair to to Tiny, by that point, he was more than Debo, more than Zoo. 1997, he straight up Debo. So
I'll concede that point to you.
Okay.
From one hokey film to another, we then went to the Catwoman.
I'm good. Go ahead.
And yeah, I said it on my review. If you watched it, you heard it there. The best part about Catwoman was Halle Berry and Benjamin Bratt's chemistry.
Yep, agreed.
If we could pull that out of that film and put them into your average chick flick love story, it would be gold.
And And even at the older than she was when she was showing her hoo-ha on film, Sharon Stone in them cat suits, man, I'll tell you what, you know, hell, Sharon Stone on Instagram this last week, I'll tell you what, like, for real. Shit, man. Sharon Stone, hey, you know, she's a very, very attractive actress. And the thing is, unfortunately for her, she's been put in that typecast of she's a hot blonde with a great body. Let's do with that whatever we can, whenever we can.
The femme fatale.
The dramatic stuff is few and far between for her. This role, again, it's a DC spinoff. The best part about the movie before you get there is the freaking poster. Like, seriously, because Halle Berry's wearing a cat suit and not much else. So it's like, okay. But to both of their credit, I think they knew that it was going to be us. And they went, screw it. Let's just do what we got to do. And like you said, her and Benjamin's chemistry was just ungodly good. So,
yeah. I think Halle got tired of being in the background of the X-Men.
Yep.
And she wanted something that she could be in the forefront of.
I agree.
Figured that her basically taking the Eartha Kitt style Catwoman to the next level was going to be the leap for her.
Yep.
And it was not. And that's why she went back to being Storm real quick.
Well, yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll play my position in the background.
And let me just backtrack for a second. You mentioned Eartha Kitt. People don't really credit Eartha for her Catwoman role in season 3 of the Batman TV series because she's not the gorgeous Caucasian brunette that Julie Newmar or Lee Merriweather were. And in the 60s, a little bit, unless you were Nichelle Nichols on the Starship Enterprise going where no man or woman had gone before, yeah, it wasn't well received. And that's a shame because Eartha Kitt, even in 1967, 68, you know, when she purred, people paid attention, you know.
You can definitely tell that Halle tried to bite that purr.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, my goodness. And, you know, you and I, of course, are Eartha Kitt folk because of Santa Baby. Let's not kid ourselves. But, man, that sultry voice of Eartha's in that cat suit, not necessarily, you know, coming on to Batman like Julie did, but still keeping him on his toes. I think if they'd gone for a 4th season, it would have worked.
I agree.
Anyway, I digress.
No, it's all good. From Catwoman, though, we started to get darker.
Oh, yes.
Started to get grittier, which is something that DC desperately needed at the time. And we started, the Nolan trilogy was very broken up with other movies.
Right.
But we went straight into Batman Begins after Catwoman. And you want to talk about a juxtaposition between the two styles and films.
Yeah, I was still, even after the advent of the Batman phenomenon in the 80s and 90s, I was still very much, you know, a touter of the Boy Scout. And to the credit of a fallen champion as of last week, I will say this. Yes, Rick Ellis's impersonation of Christian Bale's Batman helped it along in my appreciation of it. You know, especially at backstage indie shows where we would just laugh ourselves ridiculously stupid when he swear to me. It's funnier than shit. But you're right. They needed, again, dude, I'm telling you, 2 weeks, 2 freaking weeks. And I remember today, or yesterday rather, because my memory is just such shit. The actual premiere date, the 15th, I will be about 20 minutes away from where this guy lives because I'll be at the Toyota Arena for SmackDown. So if I don't see him on the 14th, I'll have to wait till the 16th. Anyway, so but yeah, I can't wait for. Dude, when I tell you guys what I'm doing next Saturday, if I haven't already told you guys on the air, you're gonna be hating my guts. Anyway, yeah, DC needed to get back to where they were at 89.
Yeah.
Where, okay, we milked this Superman cow so hard, the milk was sour before the fourth movie even ended. And by the way, we kind of glazed over Supergirl, but I know why you did it, so we'll come back to her. Batman brought it back down to the, okay, DC Comics in 1930s, in the 30s, it was not this, rosy sunshine place. And they needed to get there to get the audience to go, okay. Because you got to remember, the post 9/11 world, it's a gritty place, y'all. And I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. Yeah, we both had kids in that era. You know what? The world's not exactly sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows anymore. It's just not. And we needed a anti-hero to reflect that. Much like the WWF Attitude Era, we were sick of taking our vitamins and saying our prayers, brother. We needed somebody to buck the system. And damn it, if that bald-headed Texan didn't do it, I don't know who would have, for real. So we needed that guy, and Batman was that guy. Bruce Wayne being exiled from Gotham after, all the shit that went down in the first third of that movie. We needed that guy to be the guy to push DC back into what became the promised land again.
Exactly. From Batman Begins, we went to Superman Returns, and we went back to Metropolis. And I always found it weird that they didn't try to do a Justice League at this point.
Right.
Granted, there were many other opportunities throughout the DC lineage where they could have done it, but considering 05 was Batman, 06 was Superman, like Begins, Returns, it all could have started the wheelhouse rolling here, which still would have been a good 3 years before Marvel did it.
Yeah. Here's my, and I've always tried to reason that myself, and I come back to what you just said: Returns versus Begins. Superman Returns basically pulls a Michael Myers on 3 and 4, as far as Superman 3 with Richard Pryor and Superman 4 with every other god awful thing in that movie didn't exist. After Superman 2, they found the Krypton remnants. Superman went to go investigate. He was gone for only 5 years. So, in our head, timeline-wise, this is 1985. Really? Not my problem. Anyway, so for them to have Superman basically existing in 1985, timeline-wise, and Batman beginning in what was present-day Gotham, really, at that point, I think DC overthought it and just didn't find a way to balance it. They could have very easily, but they didn't. If you give me, can I make my point? I promise you can go pee in just a second. I'm trying to make a point here. Anyway, I'm waxing proxy about Superman. You will quiet your tongue, dog. Oh no! Oh, shit! All right. Anyway, so we live, folks. Basically, I don't think they made the attempt to go gritty with Superman like they did with Batman. I think that was a mistake on their part. Anyway, I need to go. Obviously, take her out. I'll be right back.
So, keeping on going from Returns, we went back to Gotham and we got into The Dark Knight, which I know Jeff is going to be bummed he's missing this part of it because The Dark Knight is one of his favorite films of all time. But, the Heath Ledger Joker and the Aaron Eckhart Two-Face and Christian Bale as Batman again. And again, the darkness and the grit coming right out of Superman Returns, which granted, like Jeff pointed out, was supposed to be in the past. But just the contrast of everything, I still feel like they could have made a way for Superman to have caught up to the present day that Christian Bale's Batman was in. And, get back in the frequency there that
Right.
they were in for the Dark Knight.
And you know what? And you mentioned them trying to do what Marvel did before Marvel did. I will say 2 points on that. I don't know if the grand plan with Iron Man and Hulk and all that was to form the MCU. I don't know that. Not my wheelhouse. But if they did know, and if it was out there in the media, gossip or whatever, then yeah, DC missed the boat way late. That boat was in the next ocean by the time they figured, oh shit. So
yeah. I mean, you figure you go back to Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, and there were mentions to Metropolis.
Right.
The circus is probably halfway to Metropolis by now. This is why Superman works alone. Like there were opportunities there to have acted on something.
Absolutely.
I feel like we spoke at great length about The Dark Knight, though, when we covered it. So we'll just move on past that one. That episode almost went 1 hour and 20 minutes, folks.
Oh, really? Go ahead.
It's an endurance test. If you have not seen it yet, I highly recommend you go back and watch that one. Me, Jeff, and Statboy all really cut into The Dark Knight, and we examined that meat from all different ways. If you want to make a steak pun, rare, medium rare, and well done. We examined that movie from all different angles. If you haven't watched the Dark Knight review, it's on both the Casa channel and on the Jeff Meacham Network, because that was one of the featured ones on his channel last month, I guess. So go back and watch that one. It's definitely worth it. From The Dark Knight, we went into another one I had never seen before, and we looked at The Watchmen. And that was interesting for me because I didn't really know what to expect from The Watchmen, but it was Zack Snyder's first foray into doing a superhero movie, and you can definitely see the precursors, if you will, to what he would do in the DCEU by watching The Watchmen. Very gritty, very reality-based, very toned in. It was an interesting watch for me. From The Watchmen, we went to Green Lantern. And this is another one that always gets crapped on, and I still don't really get it. If y'all that are watching, the 4 of you, can leave comments as to why you guys hate Green Lantern, the movie, so much, please let me know, because I felt like the story was simple enough. I felt like Ryan Reynolds did a decent enough job. It was definitely beyond passable. Granted, we all know what he really ended up wanting was to get Deadpool, which he got, and I know he's not going to let that go if he's got anything to say about it. But I don't get the hatred for the Green Lantern film. Again, y'all out there watching it, if you've got something to throw at us, leave a comment. We'll pop it up on the screen and mention it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, with Ryan Reynolds, he's good enough, he's smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like him. So I don't understand why they would, crap on his Green Lantern. And if you understand that reference, you're in the right place.
While we wait for comments to come in on that, we'll move right along to The Dark Knight Rises. And
yes. Sorry, the dog's got out.
I don't know about The Dark Knight Rises. Like, I'm still out on that one. Like, for me, and I said this on the review,
right,
but because I never really watched the animated series, Bane has always been a sidekick character to me.
Okay.
He should not be the main villain. He should be the main villain's heavy, much like he was for Poison Ivy.
Right. I think with Bane, Bane in Dark Knight Rises was much more a thank you to the diehard comic fans, because Bane was the first character to ever physically neutralize Batman. He literally did what he did in the movie. He broke his back, completely shattered Bruce Wayne across his knee. So I think they were trying to give the diehard comic, okay, you know, we're sorry for Jeff in '97. Here you go. And with all due respect to Jeff Swenson, great, you know, great in-ring guy, in-ring worker, lovable guy, but goofy ass Bane, terrible, just god awful. One of the true really standout parts of that movie. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Agreed.
And by stark contrast, Tom Hardy was freaking King Midas. Everything he did was golden at that point. He had come off, you know, really coming into his own in the early part of the 2000s. He played a Star Trek villain, which is not a easy task to take on, especially when TNG movies were starting to, like, okay, I'll go, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go. And they didn't go enough to get another movie out of them. So Tom Hardy was kind of looked at as the failure of Star Trek Next Generation villains. So, you know, for him to be cast as that role, first of all, was interesting. And I'll tell you what, much like a lot of, you know, like Christian Bale did and like Michael Keaton did to a certain extent, the boy bulked up, got himself in some serious ass shape. So
yeah,
he did a really good job. And I understand your view of Bane's just a means to an end, and it turned out that he really was in this movie because of Talia. So, you know, I enjoy it. I don't enjoy Nolan knowing it was a trilogy. This was the last entry, and it ends on a cliffhanger. Kind of shitty, I thought.
I didn't like that either. You know, we get the reveal of John Blake as Robin.
Right?
He goes to the Batcave, and it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah. I mean, we got everything that the heroes had wanted. Alfred saw that Bruce had a life away from all the bullshit. Bruce had a life without bullshit. Selena got her clean slate. Commissioner Gordon was able to finally vilify Harvey and not feel like he was destroying the city for it. Everybody got their happy ending. And John Blake, who had become disenchanted with being a policeman, got to carry on a different mission that he had kind of hinted at wanting to do all along. And here we are, 9 years later. What happened?
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, because I'm not DC Comics guy. I think they did a continuation of the story within some sort of comic adaptation. Don't quote me, DC fans. I apologize if I'm wrong. I would have liked to have seen at least like HBO Max exclusive animated adaptation. What the hell happened after that?
Something.
Because it was a really good, like, credits. Shit.
And I love JGL anyways. Like,
right?
It was a great role for him.
Yes. Very much
From the Dark Knight Rises, before we entered the DCEU,
yes,
we went back in time a little bit and we discussed Joker.
Yes.
And we can go back and forth all day about Jokers again. Right. I said it a little bit earlier when Jeff was outside. Go back, watch our review of The Dark Knight. You'll get pretty much everything we're going to say about preference of Jokers in there. But
yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix did an amazing job.
He really did.
Where Heath Ledger took the role, said, "Hold my beer," and knocked a home run, Joaquin Phoenix came back behind him and knocked a grand slam.
And considering that it really wasn't meant to be anything more than a one and done.
And now they're talking about a sequel.
I was going to say, he left it where, we might get another one, and that's okay. Because that character was so developed. And you figure the basic origins of the Joker is one bad day, right? This guy's life is one bad freaking everything. So, and the fact that he's lost his damn mind now legitimately, I would love to see where that goes. And the fact that we got a minor blip about Bruce Wayne getting wind of it, please turn that loose. Please. Even if it's Pattinson. If Joaquin shows up in the Batman movie, I will shit my pants and happily not clean it up for a while, because I'll be as happy as a peckerhead. I swear to God I will. It'd be tremendous to see that happen. It'd be great.
I agree. You know, they need to have a Joker at some point in the Pattinson, we'll call it universe, because we don't know if it's going to be a one and done for him, or if there's going to be a series.
Right.
But you cannot do Batman at any point in time without doing the Joker.
At least
Batman 66 had it. The Burton Schumacher verse had it. The Nolan trilogy had it.
Even the Suicide Squad briefly kind of went there a little bit. So
if you're gonna have a Bat story, you have to have Joker at some point.
Well, and again, if anything, it'll be the second one, because we've been told very, very vehemently Robert Pattinson equates to Batman Year One, the comics.
Yes.
And if you're too lazy to read the comic books, Batman Year One's on HBO Max. There you go.
If they don't go with Joaquin, they need to resurrect Cameron Monaghan.
I'd be okay with that. Because, like you said before, he kind of blends everybody together. He's the adios mother effer of Jokers. It's like everybody together, all mixed in there, and it just tastes bloody fantastic at the end.
After Joker, we began the DCEU. We had back-to-back days of Wonder Woman.
Yes, we did.
I still cannot say enough great things about Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I hope to God we get like 5 more movies out of her before she becomes too old to be playing Wonder Woman, because she is amazing in the role. She is gorgeous in the outfit. And she just, going back to the Halle Berry, Benjamin Bratt, she's got that chemistry. She exudes that confidence where you see her and you just think Wonder Woman.
And can we talk for a minute about Robin Wright in 20, whatever it was, the first one came out? She was the Princess Bride and looked that gorgeous, and she's still not. My God. Seriously, I think she got the Forrest Gump Fountain of Youth for real. Like, she doesn't age. It's redonkulous, and I'm okay with it.
Just don't go said the same thing. Like, I always forget that she was Princess Buttercup, because as much as I love the Princess Bride, I don't watch it as much as I watch Forrest Gump. Right. So I immediately equate her to Jenny.
Right, which
I always forget about Buttercup.
Yeah. What's so funny is, our Shield brethren, Christian, he of the Dodger and Kings fandom, will wax proxy for years about the evils of Jenny.
Oh, I know.
And I, you and I talked about it when we did Tom Hanks, earlier this year. I think she's more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Tragic hero more than anything else, because like she's a product of her environment. She's not this evil incarnate that Christian makes her to be. Anyway, but yeah, Robin Wright and Gal Gadot, they cast granted, they're casting people because they're pretty in this movie, because in the 1940s everybody was pretty, right? So, even the Germans were pretty, most of them. The whole mustache
Chris
thing.
Pine and his take is Steve Trevor.
I understand that reference.
I'm sorry, but if you watch him and you don't think Captain America, with the whole storyline and the war, and he dies in a plane crash, I'm just saying,
Yeah, and it was so funny to me because I hadn't seen Chris Pine a hell of a whole lot before 2009, right? So to have him step out of the captain's chair in the Star Trek universe and go over to DC, I'm like, am I dreaming? Is this like one of my fantasy things happening? Like I got DC and Trek crossing over? What the huh? So it was very, very bizarre. Probably been weird if Shatner would have done it, but of course he's 105 years old, so yeah.
Yeah. At least he was, 3 years ago.
And he's an asshole. So anyway,
from Wonder Woman, we went back to Metropolis and we got into Henry Cavill's Man of Steel, which
we talked about it.
I mean, I can't help but smile now because I get it.
Right, exactly. Yep.
That the moment of clarity hit me watching it after watching the Reeve versions, and Man of Steel is what Superman and Superman 2 was supposed to be.
Yep.
The best parts of both films put into one.
Yep. And yes, it's long. Yes, it takes forever for the plot to really kick into high gear. God damn it, when it does, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like we went over ad nauseum, that decision by Kal-El to do what he had to do to protect the Earth, man, that's some moral shit that gets, deep when you think about Dawn of Justice.
Which was the next film that we got into. I mean, and it picks right up.
Oh, yeah.
Steel leaves.
I mean, Bruce is sitting there cradling that kid watching the battle unfold. So, it's the early part of the DCU is very heavy, very morally. This is bullshit. No, this is why it's, dude, philosophical. You talk about wax philosophical. That philosophical is all about Man of Steel, Dawn of Justice, Justice League, all of them, man. They are just heavy-handed. But you know what? Like we said at the outset, DC needed to get it away from, bright colors and, zang, pow, pat. They needed to get down and dirty because the MCU had went, all right, well, if you're going to, play kiddie shit, we're just going to take the ball and run with it. Bye.
Yeah.
And it was too late.
Again, Dawn of Justice, and I'm going to say here before we get into Justice League, people need to get off the Batfleck hate.
Thank you.
I'll give you the fact that maybe Affleck isn't on the same level as Bale.
No.
But Affleck is a damn good Batman. And I'm willing to bet all of you haters out there would take Batfleck any day of the week over Kilmer or Clooney.
I will say this.
If you say that you wouldn't, you're lying.
100%. Right, Double J? So, and if you understood that, you're in the right place. That's right. Yeah. Please don't ever do that again, though. Anyway, just saying. Wow. Even Jarrett's at that strut going, oh, good God. Good Connie, get him off the air. Good grief. There was a post I saw yesterday before about, y'all need to get off picking on Ben Affleck. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. It's like, yeah, you do. You need to get off his ass. He was handed a role that, how do you follow the definitive Batman of the 21st century? You can't do that. There is no following. There is no better than, much like Eric Bischoff in 1996, you have to be different than. And he is. And he does it very, very well.
Yes. Thank you.
Justice League and the Snyder Cut subsequently kicked so much ass. Yes, Joss's version of Justice League is what it is. All right? It's the one that went out in theaters. It's the one that's canon. Whatever. But both versions.
Let's go ahead and talk about Justice League before we get to Suicide Squad, since it ties more directly into Batman versus Superman.
Very true. It does. Yeah, it's the whole redemption of having Superman died and trying to get shit back together.
The Whedon cut isn't horrible. Again, get off the hatred.
Right. Well,
I can't compare the two versions to the Donner Lester version because I still haven't seen both versions of either one.
Right, I
But
understand that.
the Whedon version isn't horrible. It has great elements to it.
I think the hate is more on Joss and what was came into light about him more than the movie itself, and that's unfortunate.
I
Because
don't know about all that because the hatred was out there before that came to light.
I I agree with it, but you know, I and again, this might be my memory not exactly lining up, but I remember the hate really kicking into overdrive when we found out, hey, there's a lot of shit in that cutting room floor. Hey, where's this footage? And then not too long after all that accusation shit came out, and Josh just got ran over like a freaking tumbler Batmobile, just dead in the water. And you know, we do this all the time, and people are probably going to start hating on us for doing it. Chris Benoit, the wrestler, was not Chris Benoit, the person in his home in Georgia the last 3 days of his life. Okay. Joss Whedon, the creative effing genius that brought us Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the greater Buffyverse, is not whatever Joss Whedon is, you know, behind the scenes. Different facets of the same person, yes. But if you compare somebody's work as an artist, be it creatively on screen, on in paper, whatever, with their personal life, then neither of us are sitting here. Nobody's doing anything except looking at their screens at a test pattern, going, "This is colorful, okay." But wait, is it really colorful? Because then if it's colorful, it's controversial, and then we're doing that shit. So. And again, I'm on a freaking pile of soapbox at this point, but we all need to start.
For 30 days, people heard me go off. That's why I love having you on this show, because now you can give your thoughts on stuff.
It's just one of those things where we all need to stop bitching about what people do when the cameras stop rolling and they hang their, Dr. Huxtable sweater up for the day, or they, go back to their, shitty life in Georgia after wrestling the best freaking match of the year or whatever, and just appreciate is what it is. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. And I quite frankly don't give a fuck. There's the one for the day. I don't care, because I have felt I'm right the last 14 years about that particular person, and I feel I'm right here. Joss Whedon's a prick. Okay, cool. I'll have to go shake his hand and tell him, hey, you're a neato guy to appreciate Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Firefly, Justice League, everything else he's done. I'll have to go out and have cocktails with him. Probably a bad idea anyway. But I can appreciate what he's done creatively as an artist, as a filmmaker. And if I'm wrong for appreciating that, then okay, I'm wrong.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, please. Yeah, seriously, we're live. We have at least
There's
two people.
Still a few of you guys watching. We've dropped down to 2, I see.
Hey, you over there. If I'm wrong, let me know. Please. Go ahead. But yeah, Justice League is a great movie, and it resolves the problem. Superman comes back. All is not exactly right in Puppet Land, but we have our Boy Scout, or our pseudo Boy Scout, back in the game.
Going back a couple days, we did Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey.
Yes.
Both films where Harley Quinn was pretty much the central focus.
Yeah, and you mentioned
Suicide Squad, not as much. She was definitely, one of the anchors of the ensemble, but Birds of Prey should have just been called the Harley Quinn movie. Well,
if you look at the subtitle, it's the Emancipation of Harley Quinn. So
I know. But it should just be called Harley Quinn, featuring the Birds of Prey a little bit.
Right. And like you said with the other one, Suicide Squad was Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and you fuckers over here. Cool. And you know what? I'm not going to shit on that decision, because at that point, even still, Will Smith was the man. He still is the man. Will Smith's always going to be the man. We love Will Smith. And Margot
I will
Robbie.
never stop loving Will Smith. Will Smith has been a part of my youth, my teens, going back to hearing DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Parents just don't understand the very first time.
Yep.
One of the first cassettes I owned on my very first boombox.
Yes, exactly. And
Will Smith has been part of my life since at least 88.
Yeah. The only time I really stepped back with Will was during the reunion with Fresh Prince when Janet and Hubert Whitten came back and they had that come to Jesus talk. And it was like, ooh, Will. Ugh. And then they made it right. So it was okay. And Margot Robbie was just starting to come in her own of being Margot Robbie, the badass movie star that she has become. So, you know, you can't fault Warner Brothers, the DC branch of the company, any of that for putting the rocket ship up both their asses in the promotion of that movie. And Margot's ass for Birds of Prey. Because you got to figure, Birds of Prey ultimately was Harley, Ivy, and Barbara. We don't have a Barbara in this universe yet, nor do we have an Ivy. So if you have a Birds of Prey movie and you've only got one of the three birds, she's got to fly the highest.
But why couldn't they have introduced Barbara and Ivy in Birds of Prey instead of doing the Huntress, the Black Canary, whoever the F Rosie Perez is supposed to be?
Right? Yeah. And see, that's where I get lost in the shuffle, because even my DCU, I don't know who you are, but cool. I remember seeing you at Man's funeral, 30 years ago. Cool. Freaking idea they are. But almost 40 years. Oh my God. 92. No, that's not right. 30 years. Wow. Okay. I almost went 10 years for no reason. Anyway, damn 805. It's all your fault. Yeah, I agree with not introducing Barbara or Ivy as a mistake, but if the plan was, okay, we're going to do more than two of these, build suspense, make us wait, make us want to go spend money at theaters. You also have to keep in mind, these movies were produced, canned, and ready for promotion before that Asian bug done bit us in the butt last year. So, the whole roll is kind of like, okay. The fact that in 2 weeks I can either go out in the theater and see this damn Michael Myers movie or sit my fat ass right here and watch it on the TV is still like, why didn't you release it last year then? Anyway, so from Birds of Prey, we went on to, I'm trying to remember what we did. Aquaman.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm going to leave the Amber Heard drama out of this.
Appreciate that.
Because that's a whole other ballpark. We already over an hour in. We're going to go another hour if we start talking about Amber Heard.
I was going to say, my dinner's due here in about 15, 20 minutes. If we got Amber Heard, I'm going to eat 8 o'clock. At least.
But
tomorrow morning.
The best part of Aquaman for me,
Scaly
other than Jason Momoa, who just rocks that character.
He really does. I find it so funny that I have female friends that couldn't tell me Batman from Robin. They sure as shit know who Aquaman is now.
Oh yeah.
Bailey.
Ever since his formal introduction in Justice League,
right?
He's just owned that role.
Yes, exactly.
It's like a bat. I dig it.
I'm here. Just give me a second. I'm checking on something.
But aside from him, the best part I think of Aquaman for me was Tamura Morrison.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Django Fett himself,
right,
as Aquaman's daddy.
Yes,
Chief Tui from Moana.
Right.
So you got the daddy of Boba Fett and the daddy of Moana playing Aquaman's daddy. I'm sold.
That is one split-ass personality, I'll tell you what.
I am sold right there.
Right.
And then you've actually got Willem Dafoe as a good guy.
Yeah, this is the weirdest damn thing. You've got Django Fett, who is just an evil son of a bitch, as a good guy for the second time in recent memory. And Willem Dafoe's a good guy. I'm going, is this the parallel DC universe? What the shit's going on?
For real, okay. For all of you out there that are twisted like us, keep this in your mind here. Okay, Jango Fett and Dr. Chase Meridian gave birth to Aquaman. Let that circulate in your head a little bit, because Nicole Kidman, looking gorgeous as ever.
Another one doesn't age. See,
the fact that DC was able to get her back after Batman Forever, which, you know, as much as we personally love that movie, it does get crapped on a lot.
Yeah, I even heard
Nicole they got her back. I'm just like golden on.
Yeah. For me, it's I have the theory that Nicole doesn't age because she sucked whatever rational sanity was out of Tom Cruise's body, and you know when she married Keith Urban, she just kind of held quarter. So
because Keith Urban don't age either. It's something about them Aussies.
Keith Urban doesn't age. He knows every damn song ever.
Keith Urban, Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman.
For those of you, I'm going to go off. Watch Keith Urban at music shows and award shows. Every time I cut to him, he's singing. He knows every song ever. Everyone. He's worse than my dad. It's ridiculous.
Hey, to be a guitar player like him, you've got to know songs.
Yeah. When his part of Highway Don't Care is that guitar solo, it's like, God, get on, Keith. Just get on and stay on that thing. Good grief. Anyway, we're going way the hell up. We're in the freaking trees, not the weeds at this point.
Well, we're about to finish the DC movies. We had Shazam to round it out.
Yeah, okay, anyway.
You know, another one here, though, John Glover.
I know.
Came back after being in Batman and Robin. And he was the villain's father.
Yeah.
In this one. So again, you got that Schumacher versus Batman actors kind of coming back here for Aquaman and Shazam, throwing their way into the DCEU. And it was kind of cool to see both Nicole and him pop up.
John Glover, I think, is the ultimate. Okay, we need somebody who needs a fresh paint of coat here. John?
And I mean, Zachary Levi, you can't go wrong with Zachary Levi.
No, you can't. I know. I like Zach. I do. But it's just, I had never heard of Shazam until the movie came out. So even me, the DC guy, was like, okay, sure.
I thought it was an odd choice.
Yes.
But it's supposed to lead to Black Adam,
right?
Starring everybody's favorite actor / wrestler / most electrifying man in all of entertainment.
And I'm okay if they bring Dwayne over from Fast and Furious to the DCEU. I will go sit through these 3-hour movies every time. I don't give a shit.
Hey, much like he did to the Journey series. Yep. Much like he did to the G.I. Joe series. Much like he did to Fast and Furious.
Yep.
Let's be honest. If anybody's going to save the DCEU, it's going to be Dwayne.
I find it very funny that as we approach the next one coming out, or it's been out now, Dwayne is nowhere to be found, and they're bringing in our boy to try to see if he can pick up that slack.
It didn't work from what I heard.
It did not. And I haven't spoken about it with anybody yet. And I go, that's going to be a conversation.
From what I hear, they're doing one more film. Yep. Fast 10 is going to be the finale, but they're talking about doing it in 2 parts.
Yes.
So much like technically be 11 films.
So much like Potter and Lord of the Rings and all that. Well, actually, not Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was 3, and it felt like 6. Twilight did 2 parts. Sorry.
And Hunger Games.
I still haven't seen those, for the record. So
but
I just haven't seen them. So.
We'll be curious to see what happens there if he can save the DCEU. Now,
second, I'm checking on my dinner. Where are we at here?
It's okay.
Got about 10 minutes before I got to go off camera and grab the food. So here we go.
Okay. So we're going to take a look real quick, I actually did my research this time. We're going to talk and go through the top 5, which is really 8 because there's a few ties.
Y'all
But
sit down.
Top 5 most viewed episodes for the month because, and like Jeff said, man, let me go ahead and real quick get you that hot dog, nachos, and tasty beverage, but make sure that you're not sipping as I announce each one because you may have to spit your drink out for a couple of these.
Make sure it ain't spicy cheese. Make yourself really sick. Now, here we go, kids. Whew.
At number 5, we have a 2-way tie with 15 views apiece.
Your audience scares me, Jay. I'm just throwing it out there.
Batman 66.
Which I agree with being in the again, I agree with that.
And Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Both of those, again, we talked about it. They get crapped on by modern audiences in their own way. Because Batman 66 is we too cool for 66. No, we're not, you freaking dorks. If you're a DC fan,
much like I'm doing with my horror movies this month, you've got to represent and respect the classics.
Yeah, and like I said when we talked about it on Dad's yesterday, man, this we'll get in preview later. I'm going to let you keep going here before we get off too far of the jungle here.
At number 4, surprisingly, with 5 more views than either of those, Batman and Robin.
I think these people just came to watch us shit on stuff. That's what happened.
But you can't say that for all of them. But I am noticing a trend because with the exception of one of them, all of them involve Batman or Batman-related characters.
Yep.
At number 3 was the first one that you appeared on with me this month, Batman Returns. And if we wanted to add in the views from your channel, it would probably make it number 1 or 2 because
we promoted the shit out of that, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because we both adore that movie. So
yeah. And then at number 2, we have a 3-way tie.
Oh boy, here we go.
With Batman Forever.
Which is fine.
Catwoman.
Which scares me.
And The Dark Knight.
Okay. I wanna harken back to yesterday's dads for a minute. Armageddon, Hell in a Cell. One of these things just doesn't belong here.
All 3 of those got 22 views apiece. And again, if you wanted to add in the views from The Dark Knight on your channel, because it was featured over there also, that's why I said Batman Returns would possibly be number 2, because I think Dark Knight would clearly be number 1.
I would
you had me hosting, you and the Stat Boy on that one.
Exactly.
And then Stat Boy was on Forever as well. So I mean, it would just be an interesting one to see the true numbers if we factored in your views as well.
I'll have to count those today when I get home and see if I can figure out the true number. But okay.
And then number
5, I'm going to sit back and do number 1, and I'm going to go off camera and run like hell.
For number 1 at 38 views.
Which, again, you know, you guys... Oh my God.
Supergirl.
Okay, now, we didn't touch on this during the recap of the month. Because I wanted to save this for now. What the shit, people? Like, okay, first of all, no stunt casting of a guest host or anything. You actually wanted to hear this man shit on this movie so bad, which he did. Good on him.
To a degree, because you know me, I always try to find the silver linings within the movies.
Right, exactly. But man,
with very few exceptions, I try not to run movies down.
And I feel so bad because Helen Slater, from what I am told, is a wonderful person. And she's not a bad actress. It's just, oh my God, is this movie bad? Oh,
yeah. I mean, you can only do so much with what you're given.
I know.
So for her to do what she did,
yeah,
you know, I don't remember my exact words on the episode, but I'm sure I rated it low. In all fairness,
right.
But the fact that 38 of y'all tuned in to see what I was going to say about that film shows me that you wanted to see what kind of trash I would talk about it, considering what the general populace feels about that movie.
You know, Helen Slater being Supergirl reminds me of that Reba song. She's done what she should. Should she do what she did? She just wanted to lose their life out there because, man, she could have had her career tanked after that. All right. I'm going to tell you what, Jay. Here's what we can do to fill this here. Go ahead and run the trailer for next month, and then we'll talk about it because the food's here.
It's exactly what I was getting ready to do. I was going
There
to
you
say,
go.
you know, we've talked at length about what we covered in September.
Yes.
Let's take a look at what's going to be coming this month in October, as well as in November.
Do me a favor real quick, since you have computer access more than I do. What was Wings Hauser? Wings and then Hauser's big role? Because I know I've seen him somewhere besides where I'm seeing him right now. And when I remember who he is, it's going to make my brain explode here, and I'll tell you why. It's bugging the crap out of me watching these damn Roseanne marathons on TV Land. Bastards. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I got it.
What?
Me anyway. If you're a 90210 fan, the season that Dylan lost his money and then got it back, he's the FBI agent that went with him down to Mexico. So that guy is Danielle Harris's dad on Roseanne. My mind's just totally screwed. Anyway, just blah, blah, blah. So, dude, I love, like, I've not heard of most of those movies, which makes me a very poor Tom Hanks fan. Number one, was that Helen Slater in one of the early ones on that graphic with him in the movie?
Possibly.
Redemption for Helen.
Let me look her up real quick while you talk a little bit.
Yeah, I like that Sally Field and him are in a movie besides Forrest Gump. That was kind of cool to see. Him and Julia Roberts, which, arguably the greatest actor and actress of our, coming of age time of our lives. Can't go wrong with that casting in a movie together. A couple of them there from what I saw there. And again, of course, Sully, which is a great story about a very a cool character, a cool real life character for real. Again,
it wasn't her.
Who was it?
I don't know which one you're thinking of, but she didn't appear in any of them.
Hey, easy. It was the one where the girl, the blonde, was like kind of like off his shoulder, like way on this side of the shot of the cover. Anyway, just maybe I want to see Helen because I felt so bad for her we just did to her before the break. Maybe just projecting. I'm sorry, Helen. Yeah, you've got a great couple of months here, and of course, we can never go wrong with you in December, but we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, like we talked about yesterday on Dads, when we were talking about your month for Renegades reviews. Horror movies are so, you talk about polarizing. My goodness, some people love the classic stuff. Some people love, the slashers that have developed since the 70s. Some people love the really ooey gooey stuff like Exorcist and all the the gory stuff that's come after that, and some people like the Alfred Hitchcock stuff. So you've got a little bit of everything in there. And what I also like, thanks to our conversation today, is most of these are accessible if you just do your job and do your work and do your research and find them. And because we are wrestling fans and we know of the existence of this app, a lot of them are on Peacock for October. So no excuse on most of them, which is nice. A lot of them are, out there on YouTube because they're in the public domain land where apparently Mickey Mouse is heading, which scares the shit out of me. A lot of cool stuff you've got coming up. And I will tell you right now, I am caught up to finishing Frankenstein on your list as far as your chronology of layout. The silent ones, you weren't kidding, man. You have to sit there and just, that time is in front of that screen, because if you don't watch, you're not going to know what's going on because there's no sound.
I mean, every now and again they throw a little clip up,
right?
A black background with some words on it to kind of help guide you through the story, but you've got to invest and pay attention. And I mean, I love it. But at the same time, when you talk about your modern day fans,
right,
most of them ain't got time for that mess.
Yeah, it's a tough sell. Luckily, and I say luckily because everybody likes what they like. The silent stuff is only going to go into the earlier part of next week. So, and then it's Dracula, which is just good. I watched Frankenstein for the first time since we showed it to the boy, and I forgot how awesome it is in its simplicity. And just
lost you there for a second.
Hang on, god darn it.
Technical difficulties there on Mr. Meacham's end. Hello, 1, 2. Is this on?
So it's funny, no actual words, but Boris Karloff just made me hurt for him.
Yes.
Like, this is 1933, 31. I cried when the mill was going up, and it was awful, just awful.
90 years ago this year, that and Dracula came out.
That's crazy.
And Dracula was released statewide. Now, it was released in New York a couple days earlier,
right?
But statewide, it was released on Valentine's Day.
Oh, geez, yikes!
Right?
What's really funny is, just how, again, you think about, for us younger folk, and and that's even you, because you didn't see these when they came out. Let's not,
No.
But Frankenstein's monster, and the people under that Universal Monsters category are, for the most part, the people you run into like we do at Disneyland at Universal Studios for photo ops. I mean, I have a great picture of me and the monster the last time I was there with Dylan. Just a great picture.
Mm-hmm.
But going back now and actually saying, okay, this month I'm doing this. I want to watch these movies. And I fed you a good chunk of the list earlier today. The fact that most of these are accessible one way or the other, gives me such great joy, because I'm gonna get your nose out of my food, you little shit. You know better. Go lay down. Sorry. You know better. You're my dog. This one's a basket case. You know better, dumbass. Anyway, dogs.
We're live, folks.
We are way live, and I'm a beer deep and hangry at this point. So Jesus, here we go. The fact that I get to enjoy these, and I have to watch them in advance, because come the 21st, I'm on my way to the land of Judas and elite folk. So I got to make sure I get my shit in, as Brian Cage would say. I'm sure he's on the cruise too. So it's wonderful, because I get to enjoy these, most of them for the first time. Because we watched Frankenstein together, with Dylan when he was younger, and we talked about that yesterday. But a lot of them I haven't seen, so it'll be cool to relive them or live them for the first time and give you feedback, because I know, as much as I enjoy your feedback from wrestling you haven't seen, I love your face when you hear me talk about Dracula and your boy Wolfie. It's stuff like that. So I have yet to this day, start to finish, don't get up, don't go take a leak, don't go get a brewski, watched The Wolfman. God damn it, I'm doing it.
I mean, you can see my boys there behind me. I've got some of the coffin decor that I picked up at Frankenstein's that I had to break out for the show today.
Frankenstein's, not Frankenstein's. Come on now, Jay.
You're the one that had the beer.
Exactly. Yeah. Straight edge indeed. Anyway, so you never judge anymore. But I love that you have that shirt, and my dad has a very similar shirt that says "My name is Frank" with that pretty much an exact picture of Boris. I love. Just call me. That's what it is. That's what it is. He's got that dude. That makes my heart warm so much. That's great. I love that shit.
It's the only one of the monster that I have, so I had to break it out to wear to the double feature today.
Oh yes, dude. Oh well, yeah, because it's so funny how much he is prolific in merch, and Lon Chaney, as every other goddamn character, is prolific in merch. You don't see a whole lot of Bella, which is bullshit.
I know. It's funny that you mentioned that, because there's actually an offer up on the Walmart website. They just released a Frankenstein shirt this year, a new one, and there's also a Dracula shirt with it. But if you look at it, it's not Bella as Dracula. It's like they got Thomas from accounting was like, dude, we need to take a picture of Dracula. Here, put on the outfit real quick. It's not any of the established Draculas out there. It just looks like some dude from The Office that they threw a cape on and had him, like hit a pose or something. I'm in a few Universal Monsters groups and they posted in there. I'm like, am I the only one that's upset that this is not Bela Lugosi as Dracula? Like, they were like, no, I hear you, but what are you going to do?
It's like, we understand Mr. Walton's grandson's a little busy doing absolutely nothing, so he had to get him in the picture. But what? Come on, folks. Just saying. Terrible.
But I mean, they tried. But I mean, yeah, you can get Frank stuff. You can get Wolfman stuff. You can get The Bride.
Mummy.
Mummy
Mummy more so because of the awesomeness that came in the 90s. Let's not, and all, but The Bride, I mean, it's so funny. All these memes, September 30th, October 1st. There was one about Elsa today.
I believe it.
Looking all, sexy there, all modeled on the couch, and October 1st. So, it's
which
true.
There's screen caps from the same movie because she plays Mary Shelley in the prologue, and then she's the bride at the end. So those screen caps are of her as Mary Shelley, which I don't know if you guys out there realize this, but Mary Shelley was only 19 years old when she wrote Frankenstein.
Yeah. There is living proof that age does not okay. Okay. There's no more in here. You can stop doing that now. Living proof that age does not always begot wisdom or create or intelligence and genius. Because 19 years old, she creates this monster that 90 years later, movie-wise, we are still.
Mm-hmm. And I know we'll talk about it more when we get you on the show to talk about Frankenstein. But I mean,
I watched it and I was iffy about it. Dude, I'm in. Let's do it. Absolutely.
Just the fact that we were able to get your son, who was like 3 at the time, to connect on that level with the monster. Because at the end of the day, especially in the first one,
oh yeah,
the monster is basically the equivalent of a toddler.
Right.
You got to figure he's only a few days old in that body. He's learning.
Yeah.
Fire, float, play, like all these things. So he doesn't understand, when he scoops little Maria up and throws her into the lake, he doesn't understand why she doesn't float like the flowers did. He doesn't have that capacity yet mentally.
I was going to save it for the review, but I'll go ahead and say it here now. The scene after with the father and the daughter, granted, I was already a father the first time I saw it the whole way through, but now, 10 years later watching it, shit wrecked me. Just freaking destroyed me.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in his eyes. He's just not there. He is just singular mission, take the monster out. He is just done with reality. He's going down. He's taking the monster with him. Everything else is secondary. That is parent 101. It's like, you wrong my kid, I will fuck you up. Straight up. And and sorry for the extra F-bomb. I know we're going to cost ourselves money today. But you know what? That's how it should be for parents, damn it.
Exactly.
You mess with my kid, I will rule you.
Jimmy Keene style.
Right. Damn it. Damn you, David Arquette. Anyway.
I'm just so looking forward into getting deep into these films this month. We've already had Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde go up yesterday with John Barrymore, the grandfather of Drew Barrymore.
Yep.
The brother of Old Man Potter from It's a Wonderful Life, Lionel Barrymore. Like, we just cannot exude enough greatness onto the Barrymore name.
No, and what's so funny is there have been so many versions of a lot of the ones you're doing the first part of the month. Jekyll and Hyde, the Phantom, and I know in your eyes there's only one Phantom, and it's not the one that sings, and I get it. But man, I'll tell you what's funny is when I was going through trying to find these all on different outlets, your Phantom, of course, is on your list on the YouTube list. The Phantom that's on that's the Universal Monster official Phantom, the one with the start of the half mask craze, if you will.
The Claude Rains version, I believe.
Oh, thank you, Claude Rains. Thank you. I couldn't. God, that was because he's the Invisible Man. That's really bad. I forgot who his name was. That's awful. Because I love Invisible Man. I did not see that movie. Still haven't seen it. I read. I don't know if we talked about this last year during Halloween month, but when I was in grade school in the library, if you looked. When the librarian wasn't looking your way, there was this little bitty section kind of tucked away in the corner, these long, thin, orange books, Universal Monsters.
Yep. That was my first exposure to Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
Condensed to, for lack of a better term, for you kids to understand this reference, golden book size stories. Yep. And every damn one of them, the entire elementary school run, every day. So that's why I knew Claude Rains was the Invisible Man and the Phantom of the Opera. That's why I knew Boris Karloff's name before he became the Grinch narrator. That's why I knew this stuff. So the fact.
You know how I knew that Claude Rains was the Invisible Man? Rocky Horror Picture Show.
True. But yeah, remember, I discovered these books in not 2005 when I discovered Rocky Horror. So, there's a difference there.
Right, but I didn't read those books except for like the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula back at that age.
Right.
I still, to this date, have not seen The Invisible Man start to finish.
Neither have I started to finish. And if I did, it was a long-ass time ago. But yeah. So,
I didn't have the mental picture of Claude Rains as the Invisible Man. It wasn't until that song at the beginning of Rocky Horror, which of course we always sang over at Kevin Bacon was in Hollow Man.
Damn. Shit.
Because it's basically a similar story anyway.
Well, see, our callback at Sins was, Claude Rains was the Invisible Man. Where? I don't see him. And the next verse started. So
we did that too, but we also sang over that part. Kevin Bacon was in Hollow Man. What? Where? I didn't see him.
No, that was at MI.
Yeah.
Y'all crazy down there. That's why y'all crazy. So,
you know this.
I do know this. I done lived it for 2 years. Oh, by the way, while we're briefly, shout out to Milliken. Crazy shit went down there the other day, man. My thoughts are with everybody down there, man. That was a horrible. I'm not going to go into it. Go to your news sites. Just a very, very unfortunate situation. Just terrible. So Teresa having gone there and everything, my thoughts are with the Milligan people, man, because that's screwed up. Anyway,
I'm gonna have to look into that. I don't know what happened.
Side note, my
lady just messaged me saying we said that at the same time. She's watching along. She just, for whatever reason, she can't comment on the YouTube.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on her end, but she just sent me a message saying we just said that at the same time. So that's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, it's yeah. So basically, off-duty school safety officer went too far deep into diffusing the situation after it was already diffused, and a 18-year-old student / mother of at least one or two is now no longer with us. She took a bullet to the back of the head.
Got it.
Happened. And it was close enough to Milliken where it was like, ooh, really got in my head. So anyway.
I feel you.
So yeah, and like I said, as much as we have lamented WWE's existence on the Peacock app, dude, y'all are hitting a home run for October.
For real. I mean, you got to figure if it's NBC Universal, then they should have most of the Universal monsters on.
And they do. They have a whole little. Basically, they have Peacocktober is the tab. You open Universal Monsters tab, Nightmare on Elm Street tab, Friday the 13th tab, Chucky tab. Of course, but the first you bastard. I had to freaking buy Child's Play 1 on Vudu just like I watch the damn thing because the DVD player doesn't work. Ooh, I'm pissed at you, NBC, for that. But yeah, Phantasm tab. Okay, seriously, You know, Phantasm. I didn't know what Phantasm was. So, oh yeah, that's right. They, like you said, they are the caretakers of the greats. So they should be rolling this shit out. And like we talked about 2 weeks from yesterday, Halloween Kills premieres on the app as well as in theaters. So I have a very funny feeling that they're going to talk to whoever owns the other 65 million Michael Myers movies and go, can we just, yeah, thanks. And just Halloween tab. And then all our DVD buying will be for naught and we'll feel like jackasses, but that's okay.
Hey, you know me, man. I love having my hard copies.
Hard copy. Seriously, man. I look over at that shelf when I'm at the house with Michael head. I'm like, that's right. I did that, and I helped Jay do that. I'm proud of myself, damn it. So, and like, you know, it's so funny to me. You and I sitting here talking all giddy about horror. 3.5 years ago, nope.
That was
not me.
I know if I was covering more of the slashers, we probably would have brought Bruce in for a guest here.
Well,
because while he does like some of these classic ones, he doesn't get into them the way I do. You know, he's a Freddy, he's a Jason, he's a Myers,
very much a Myers,
Leatherface.
Yes,
he's that type of horror. It was always a struggle to get the Wolfman or Frankenstein thrown on when we would do the horror movie parties at his house.
But it's funny, the one year I went over there and I was, you know, way more whiskey to the wind than I ever should have been around people I didn't know except Bruce. We actually watched, I think it was Wolfman. And you were like, NIGGA, what? Without me? Sorry. So
it happens.
It's probably I don't remember because I was so sloshed.
Well, before we get out of here today,
yes,
it's almost that time. We do have some new acquisitions to the library.
Oh, cool, very cool. And then I've got the proverbial the gratuitous plug-in to do. So
yes. So
Saturday. So,
and there's a nice little hodgepodge of stuff here this time.
Okay.
You know, some of it is stuff I grabbed just to grab.
Right.
Some of it is stuff that I grabbed for Tom Hanks month next month.
Huh.
Some of it is stuff that I grabbed for January, if you remember what January is going to be.
Yes.
Here's a little hint if you don't. Grease 2, Grease Live. Triple Blu-ray.
Where did you get that?
Take a guess.
I must call the Spark immediately.
And I want to say that it was $10 for all three.
Sorry?
I want to say it was $10 for all three.
Dude, for all the bad that Spark's doing, god damn, they're hitting home runs with these movies. Chicago. Oh, dude, you're gonna have to fight me to get off the camera for January. I swear, dude. Oh, nice. That's cool. I like that. That's cool.
I know my dad loves this one.
Dude, I know he does.
And because of this one, my dad was able to bridge and get my grandparents to give the Beatles a chance because of their cover of Till There Was You.
Yeah. If your dad was more of that type of guy, since he is an educator, I'd love to see him talk about the movie with you. That'd be cool. Oh, that a boy. That a boy.
I love that the case is red too. That's awesome to me.
Did you hear about the lawsuit with her and Disney?
Yes.
I
was totally Team ScarJo on that.
They did. They totally upped Disney Plus for that. That was bullshit.
My lady says Chicago, yes.
What happened?
My lady just messaged me, Chicago, yes.
Dude, we need to get CC out here like right now. I think her and I would get along just ridiculously.
Hey, she'll be out here for a visit November 10th through the 14th, and then the move should be the beginning of the year. That's the goal. We're looking January.
That week, and then the 18th I'm at Disneyland. Anyway. Ooh.
The Snyder Cut.
Ooh, they actually released it in a hard copy. Nice job. Nice job, Warner Brothers. Very nice.
They knew where there was money to be made.
Now, let me ask you, is it like Titanic where it's still 2 discs, even though it's Blu-ray?
I haven't taken it out of the plastic yet.
I would love to see if it is. That'd be funnier than shit. 2 movies. King Kong and
Son of Kong.
oh wow, those are the old ones.
Yeah, it's the Fay Ray 33 King Kong, which if I had owned this when I put the month together, this would have been getting covered because I have yet to see Kong start to finish.
For God, another Rocky Horror rep. Okay, I'm watching Rocky Horror tonight. That's it. It's decided. It's in my head now. Oh man! Oh, damn it!
That's one of the
Yep.
early Tom Hanks movies that I did not have. You know, you say that you feel bad about not knowing a lot of these Tom Hanks films that I'm doing this time around.
Yeah.
And while some of them I've heard of,
Right.
very few of them have I ever seen. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I've only ever seen Da Vinci Code,
Mm-hmm.
Cloud Atlas,
Mm-hmm.
Saving Mr. Banks, Won't You Be My Neighbor, and Polar Express.
I still
What is that? 5?
Something like that, 5 or 6.
Out of 30?
Yeah, I still haven't seen Neighbor, which I'm very mad at myself. But you know what? In my defense, I never really watched Mr. Rogers as a kid.
See, I grew up with Mr. Rogers. It was Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers.
See, for me,
That was my childhood.
And again, this is not a negative reflection at my parents or my grandmother. When prior to preschool, I was at my grandmother's during the day because my mom worked and my dad worked. We didn't watch Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers. We watched this TBS News. We watched Price is Right. We watched Young and the Restless. And again, Educated and Young and the Restless versus Sesame Street, probably not the best of choices, but again, I can appreciate Sesame Street more now because of you and because of the Henson verse and the Muppets and everything. And I can appreciate Mr. Rogers because he was just a decent person, which is always great to see in society and in entertainment.
From everything I've ever heard or read about Fred Rogers is the type of man you aspire to be.
Exactly. And
I mean, he was an ordained minister, but if you watched his show, he did not try to pump the word of God down people's throats.
No,
he did what he did in his private life. In his private life, he was a minister. And if he preached on Sunday, he preached on Sunday. When he got in front of that camera to those kids, boy, did he preach, but he preached in a completely different way. He just wanted us to be decent to each other.
Yeah. And let's just go further up Tom Hanks' ass with our noses here for a minute. He played Fred Rogers. He played Walt Disney. Dude, like, seriously.
Can we please get him to play Jim Henson?
Please. I mean, granted, he's got to grow a fugly beard, but,
Have you seen Castaway? I'm just saying.
Yes, I've seen. And you know what? I actually enjoy Castaway, so damn it, I'm all right with it. Oh, my God. What pit of hell did you unearth that thing from?
Target, the bullseye.
Oh, wow. That's why. Yeah.
I have never seen it,
no
but
shit.
I know that the attraction was based around this movie. So all the years that I have been on Tower of Terror, and I had never seen the film. And again, if I had this, then maybe, I think one year I'll do family movies that, kids can watch at Halloween time and do like this and the Addams Family and Beetlejuice.
I'll tell you this, the way the year and the next year is going, if you wait till next year, you could probably do 30 days of Disney attractions that became films.
Legit.
I'm not joking when I say that either. Oh, there you go. There you go. I love it.
And the sequel.
I haven't seen the sequel yet. I hear it's good, but it's not great. So
it's the sing-along edition, so at least I'll have the worst of the songs on the screen.
Yeah, and for those of you going, you gotta remember, JJ's gonna have an interesting January. He is not a musical guy at all.
Which is why I tried to pick the ones I picked.
Right.
Non-musical, Real Steel.
Oh wow! Another one out of the pit of
Hugh
hell.
Jackman.
Right. Hi Matt, you are like seriously way into the show here, but good to see you, bud. Bye Bye Birdie. Oh, my dad, I love you that one for that one.
A classic of my dad's as well, dude. I mean, Janet Leigh, the
Yep.
woman in the shower of Psycho.
Yep.
Dick Van Dyke. I mean, can we say enough great things about Dick Van Dyke?
No.
And Margaret, okay?
Right.
And Margaret, to my dad's generation,
Right.
was like Angelina Jolie and Scarlett Johansson. You know, I'm just saying, like, that is who that was to them.
Oh, yeah. Dude, and Margaret was still hot in Santa Claus 3, for Christ's sakes.
Thank you. And hearing her sing Chestnuts on a roasting on an open fire.
Dude, Jack Frost wanted to nip that nose. Tell you what, something else. Anyway.
Heyo.
Heyo, hey.
Sweetheart, if you're wondering why I haven't responded to your message yet, it's because I believe the reply is in here. It might not be, though. I am going to cover it. I just don't have it on me yet.
I love that she's watching along. This is too cool for school.
Volunteers.
Oh, my God.
Another pairing of Tom Hanks and John Candy after the success of Splash and them as brothers.
Right. Too funny. There you go.
I'm just curious to see Tom Hanks and Jackie Gleason, like, for real.
Right.
Punchline.
There's the one I feel I was talking about. Yeah.
Which, if I remember correctly, in this one, they play lovers. And then in Forrest Gump, their mother-son.
Which is
so that just shows the diversity of Sally Field. Let's go there for a minute, shall we?
I was going to say, yeah. Let's move our noses from Fred Rogers to Sally Field there for a minute, because damn it, she's awesome too. We like her. We really like her. Oh, there you go. Love it.
One of 2 films with Tom and Julia.
Yes.
And there's the second one.
Yes. Again,
so that's going to be good.
You know, and again, we talk all the time about people age or not aging at all as they. Oh, they're still there. You go. Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts have shown their age, but they're aging like wine. They both look freaking fantastic. And Tom had the COVID, and he still looks good. Tom's Wilson, good grief, is she amazingly beautiful too? Oh wow, there you go. That is an undersold movie. I like that movie. It kind of gets back and forth with the critics. I love it.
Cece said my favorite, Volunteers. I still haven't seen that one yet, babe. So I'm going to be looking forward to seeing it.
I mean, it's Tom Hanks and John Candy, so you can very rarely go wrong in any part of that. But
true.
I mean, true. Yeah, it's funnier now.
What I love is how I've orchestrated the month where the very first movie we're doing is, let me see if I can quote the movie title right, because I always end up missaying it.
Right.
He Knows You're Alone.
Right.
Which is Tom Hanks's very first movie. He's not even the star of it. He's like a supporting actor. It's a horror movie.
Right.
So we're coming right out of October Horror Month and doing a Tom Hanks horror movie.
Yes.
And then the end of the month, the last movie we're doing is The Polar Express, which should have been a lot earlier in the month if we're going chronologically like I'm trying to do.
But
I just felt it was the perfect segue to go straight into December and the month of Christmas movies. So right. It was so perfect that Tom Hanks had one of each movie to bookend the month to just segue straight, horror into Hanks, Christmas into Christmas.
And for those of you that don't remember, JJ and I going over this ad nauseum over the last couple of years, I finally just saw Polar Express start to finish about a week after I went to Club 33. So, and because the bits I'd seen at work at Walmart when they weren't showing out for the 400th time in the day, I was like, okay, but I'm not impressed. I sat down, start to finish, and again, the hindsight of watching it as a parent, blubbering, flippin' idiot. And the fact that Tom Hanks is like every damn role in the movie, it just shows how awesome he is again. So there you go.
Yeah. in regards to your statement on volunteers, Cece says, thank you, Jeff.
I got you, girl.
Yeah, I think you two are going to get along well.
Never mind. I'll say nothing. I'll make myself in a lot of trouble.
So that basically covers
Yes.
my end of things for
Okay.
the recap for
Mercy.
what's coming.
Go lay down. I just moved 2 inches. Settle your tea kettle, you crazy pooches. Jesus. Natty, if you're watching that, that's for you, baby. Anyway, not Natalie, Natty Neidhart, because settle your tea kettle's her thing. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so coming up on the Jeff Meacham Network, what we got here? All right, I don't have everything queued up like I wanted to because I screwed up, but that's okay. We have a hell of a way to round out the year here as far as the dad shows go. I'm very, very happy with the way the shows we've taped so far have turned out. And the shows that we are going to do here in the next little bit, I'm very excited about. This coming Friday, so the 8th, in the usual Dads/Renegades replay time slot, we talked about it a lot, and I mean a lot today. It's on Peacock. No excuses, folks. JJ's review of The Mummy. Get on Peacock right now, or at least some point between now and Friday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern, because you're going to watch it on Jay's channel, because you're obedient little people, and you want to give JJ the watch-along views so we can get him bumped up. So obey the West Coast Professor Master and watch his shit first. Thank you very much. I mean, watch my channel. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not going to be there anyway. I'm going to be on the way up the Antelope Valley. God help me. Again, but he's talking about the Universal monsters. You're going to enjoy yourselves, folks. Saying. And then the week after that, on the 15th, we back with the show that's in the can and edited, ready to upload. Yay.
Let's make sure we upload it the Monday before it airs, since we know we're going to get deemed. So we've got a couple of days for the copyright claims to drop off there, Jeff.
And so that way I'm not up, till, 4 o'clock Friday morning because the upload doesn't render when I'm trying to sleep in my chair at my desk. Jack off.
Yes. Let me throw that back up there real quick.
Yes, do.
Just for a heads up, we made sure to kind of cross-pollinate here a little bit, and
yeah.
I knew what Jeff's list was ahead of time because we wanted to try to give you 20 different songs for you to build your Halloween party playlist off of.
Yes.
So you're going to get a lot of stuff to download, to stream, add to your playlists. Yep. There's going to be classic TV themes in there. There's going to be movie songs in there. And there's going to be songs for the kiddies.
Yes.
Because you got to figure, after all that trick-or-treating, after eating some of that Halloween candy, the kiddos are going to be up for at least an hour before they have that sugar crash. So there are going to be songs that maybe our core audience are going to hear on there and be like, really? You wasted a spot with that?
Right.
But you got to factor in the kiddos that are going to be present for some of the party.
Oh, for sure.
So there's songs on there, especially on my list. I'll sell myself out right now. I don't give a F.
Right.
That are geared toward the children in the crowd at those parties.
Absolutely. As it should be, because, like you said, as Halloween's very much become an adult-oriented holiday in the last decade and a half, 2 decades, I'd say. But,
I'd say since the mid-90s.
Yeah, but and if you figure the mid-90s was when Curse of Michael Myers came out, and the whole story of Halloween, what it really was before, candy and, trick-or-treating and whatnot. So we give you a little bit of both. And I have to throw Rob Zombie out there. That post on Instagram, 1313 is alive and well in the construction of the house. Dude, my big giant green monster loving heart just grew 3 sizes that day. I tell you what, man, it's so friggin' cool.
Yes.
cannot wait for that. My God. Like, I can't even process how awesome that's going to be.
Definitely.
Oh, man.
And at least it'll be a Rob Zombie movie without a bunch of gratuitous gore, because the Munsters are not that family.
No.
So it should be fun.
And if you think about it, the Munsters, especially Herman, is very much designed after the man on your shirt. So you're getting
the Glenn Strange version.
You're getting Rob Zombie's interpretation of the Universal Monsters. That's going to be awesome. I'm going to love it. So then after that on the Friday, we're going to go back into Renegades Reviews replay. Watch on JJ's channel first. Listen to me. You're getting very obedient. Watch the Renegade channel. Because it's going to be funnier than hell for an hour. I'm going to love it. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. If you don't know who Abbott and Costello are, I am sorry for your lack of education, my friend. Oof. Yeah. Oofa.
Ironically, today would have been Bud Abbott's birthday.
Is that right? Wow.
Yes. So I actually saw a post about that earlier. Today would have been Bud Abbott's birthday.
That's crazy.
And even Groucho Marx called him one of the greatest straight men of all time.
That is everything, if you know. So,
I mean, and dare I say, and I know it's not a horror movie, it's a comedy. I want to say that was my first introduction to the Universal Monsters, was that. And it's a great testing ground for any kid because it's a comedy first. The horror monsters, your Dracula, your Frankenstein, your Wolfman, are very slapsticky in this.
Yes.
So show it to your kids, and if they respond positively, then the floodgates are open, man, and start showing them where Frankenstein, where Dracula, where the Wolfman come from, and showing them all of those films.
Yes.
The ones that come in the legacy collections. This is the Mummy, but the ones that come in here that give you every movie from the franchise on them. I mean, a lot of people have this image of Bela Lugosi as Dracula, because he's played so many vampires over his time, but he only actually played Count Dracula twice. The original 31 film and Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein. Every other time there was a Dracula movie, it wasn't Lugosi. Every other time Lugosi played a vampire, he wasn't Dracula.
And it's so funny to think that people think of him as the definitive Dracula, which is just because he did so well. And, amazing. And you mentioned that, that show, that Friday is definitely, more geared toward the family unit, more toward, your PG audience. Everybody can watch that episode of Renegades Reviews because...
But I have a feeling that the week after that, they can't. I have a feeling it's a little bit of a higher rating.
Yeah, and it only didn't get XXX because they were on USA Network. If it had been on HBO, that thing with Lita, woo. Anyway, the 29th, we're going to end the month. I think it's either on his birthday or the day before his birthday. I can't even remember how it goes.
I believe it's the day before.
Either way, we're going to celebrate the greatest matches in the history of the Rated R Superstar. The newest draftee to Monday Night Raw, by the way, Edge. Adam Copeland. You and I don't talk a lot about Edge deep dives. We haven't to this day, which I find funny. But I have so many, and I said this before, sensory memories regarding Edge's accomplishments in the business.
Yeah.
That's going to be a very emotional show without question for me. So I'm looking forward to it. And we're going to on, Dad, since we plugged that to Tom Hanks month, we'll do it real quick here. We've got the top 10 Pixar films and the greatest matches in the history of The Undertaker on Black Friday, no less. I don't have the... You know what? There you go. I love it.
I've been doing my homework.
I would say if you have Peacock access, watch his bio they released after he retired. That's got the story. That one's got the matches, and you're good to go, brother. And let me just see if I have the graphic handy still, because if I do, I will plug what very few people know is going to happen on that day, because we haven't really finalized it yet officially. I think it's this one. Yes. No. Nope. I screwed it up. Just kidding. Cancel. There we go. That's what I want. So, JJ and I taped a few episodes this year that didn't really make it to air because I took my little hiatus over the summer because I was just burnt to a crisp and just couldn't deal. I couldn't deal. So I needed to take a break. And one of those episodes needs to go up this year without question, because it is the anniversary of this particular topic. And when I talk about my fandom in wrestling, we all know that when I go into the great beyond, that great wrestling in the sky, if I do die via a wound of some sort, I will bleed out red and yellow without question. But there will be that part of my DNA extraction when they embalm me that will definitely come out black and white. On Thanksgiving, we will showcase the greatest moments in the history of the NWO. And I'm very, very proud of this episode that we did record.
As am I.
We recorded it. I am proud of this man's selections because he, is not a Hulkamaniac. He came into his fandom at a time when the NWO was not waterlogged down, but definitely watered down by then. So for him to pull off what he pulls off, dude, I
put it to you this way. We've talked in the past about, our I'm drawing a blank on what I was saying, like who our Mickey Mouse was.
Right.
Right. Wayne Allwine. We talked about, who this person was. My NWO was NWO 2000.
Right, exactly.
That's not a great jump off point.
No.
I didn't dislike NWO 2000, but considering where the company was at that time and going back and reliving the glory days, okay.
I will say this. Other than a Miller's Outpost, I said it on the air on purpose, knockoff Wolfpack shirt, my first official WCW show purchased NWO t-shirt, silver and black, at a Nitro, by my aunt at Staples Center. I wouldn't even have the damn show. My first black and white NWO shirt that I owned is the one that's still hanging in my closet on reserve that came out of the Renegades closet 10 years ago that he gave to me. After that, it's the one I bought off WWE Shop because, the shirt he gave me was old by then and it's raggedy as hell now. It's my NWO work shirt at this point. Work around the house.
Cut the sleeves off it, brother.
Right. I think I got one of those somewhere too. So that's going to be for dads. Now, on the network where I make my money every day. Monday, God help me. They're doing the draft again, Jay. My dad even goes, why? I said, what else can they do?
And I read somewhere that the picks don't even take effect till after Crown Jewel. So why don't they do it after Crown Jewel?
Or why don't they make Crown Jewel worth more than a freaking blood money show full of dream matches? Have the draft go down there. It's a long ass show. Hell with it. I mean, granted, the king back there doesn't want to watch, a bunch of draft picks. He wants to see guys he's seen on tape for 20 years, like freaking Whisker Biscuit, Lesnar. It's like, okay, but if you're not gonna have the draft go into effect until SmackDown afterwards, that's special needs for real. But I don't book the territory.
They should do the draft, the Raw after Crown Jewel,
or at least start it there and end it on SmackDown rather than start on. I get they do it on SmackDown first because SmackDown is officially the A show. There is no doubt about that anymore. But it feels odd to have a 2-day delay. It's like, get over with. Anyway, once Raw's done, once Aaron's done, then I go party. The next day, speaking of parties, and I have the wrong graphic up there, so let me put the right one up there while I talk about this. The next day on the Jeff Meacham Network is a very, very special day for all of us. If you know and love the guy the way that you and I love the guy. And he's hosting his show that day. So on Tuesday, October 5th, will be the birthday of Statboy Mike on Statboy Sports Bar. And yes, I added the decorations specifically for him. If you know, you know. That'll be Tuesday. But yeah, we've got NFL coverage because we didn't do the show last week. Major League Baseball postseason starts this week. So that's going to be awesome. We'll talk about the Angels playing golf and the Dodgers doing stuff.
When does hockey start, Jeff?
Well, funny you mention that because the preseason is over at the end of this coming week. So NHL opens on, I think, the day that Chucky opens on USA and Sci-Fi, the 12th. I'm pretty sure. Gonna be a good week. We got Chucky, we got hockey, and we've got Jeff and Patrick going to SmackDown on Friday that week. So it's gonna be a good I would definitely not be in the chat room for the 15th on Dance because I'll be on my way to Ontario. I'll probably be in Ontario before it even starts because Patrick likes to leave early. So that'll be Tuesday with Statboy Sports Bar. Wednesday is big if you've been following the Greg Cherry brand and the exploits of the title involved with that brand for the entire run. Greg is officially revealing the bracket for the next tournament to crown his next challenger for the WTC World Championship. That'll be Wednesday on the Greg Cherry Show. Thursday's one-on-one is very much up in the air. I had a feeler out that got negated today. I have another one that was penciled in on the person's schedule, but it's not official, so I can't official it. So I will say nothing. Friday, of course, we mentioned the Mummy. Saturday, a week from today, I will be down in Haddonfield, Pasadena, California. 6 o'clock that night will be a signing featuring, I don't know how well the print shows up on the big screen, so I apologize. Nick Castle, the original Michael Myers, PJ Souls, totally one of the most awesome people in the franchise.
Totally.
Will Sandin, who doesn't ever do these, and if you know who Will Sandin is, if you don't know, I'll tell you. The first scene of the movie where 6-year-old Michael stabs Judith, that's Will Sandin. So the original, the very first person we see play Michael Myers is going to be at the Myers house a week from today. Crazy. James Jude Courtney, the current Michael. And a name that a lot of you are not going to know, but you should know, darn it. I can't see his freaking name because it's so small on my screen. I apologize. Can you read that better than I can? Your computer screen, Christopher. Oh, damn, I'm sorry, Chris. I apologize, man.
No, I can't.
I can't see it. Anyway, the special effects guy for the Blumhouse trilogy. So Michael's mask being all messed up and burned and charred and all of the special effects you see in these movies, yeah, that's your guy. So that's going to be a kick-ass 4 hours, but I intend to weave my way around Haddonfield and get some current pictures because all my pictures around there are at least 2 or 3 years old by now. Because the first time I went down there was with Bruce and Ken to see the original one in the backyard, and I made the mistake of walking the route from the Myers house to the rest. No, Uber and buses are my friends.
Yeah. I apologize for the way this picture is formatted, but I just have to throw up this awesome image for the Chucky thing that Alex Vincent posted for his new profile picture.
I saw that.
I'll be damned if that doesn't look like some Pulp Fiction shit right there.
I said the same thing. It was so cool. What was really cool. Oh, I mean, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, though, but just to see Andy and Kyle back at it together again,
so
like
awesome.
Ready to wreck some shit on Chucky, makes my heart so full.
I know.
She will forever be Emily Valentine to me.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Don't give a F, but yes, they look so good back together again there.
And I will say this. It's so funny because I actually was I don't know what led me here. I was actually watching the Child's Play movies and saw Christine. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and watch the Now 2 episodes after Emily gets her shit back together. So I watched the one where Brandon goes to Frisco and just happens upon her. And then I watched the episode where he was with her when Kelly was in the fire. Man, those were some intense episodes, and it wasn't really a whole lot of screen time. That show was just so good, and it wasn't cool to be following a male soap opera. It wasn't cool, so I didn't, whatever. That show's too damn good, for real. Anyway, But yeah, to have Alex and Christine back together. Yeah, remember last time we saw them in character, Andy's locked up in the cuckoo's nest, and Kyle's torturing the Chucky head. That was 4 years ago. What the hell is going to happen in a week and a half? I'm looking forward to it on USA, damn it, and Sci-Fi.
Definitely.
Full disclosure, I actually reached out to one of the young ladies in the new Chucky series. I can never pronounce her name. Olivia. Anyway, she was on Young and the Restless for a number of years, playing for you non-hardcore YNR fans, Victor Newman's granddaughter, Faith. So to have a YNR person in a Chucky series, I'm like, can I have an interview with you? That'd be great. She's not available, so it fell through, but I'm looking forward to having her on at some point down the line. But yeah, I mean, to be able to spend a day in Haddonfield less than a week before the new movie comes out, I'm so looking forward to Saturday. And then the day the movie comes out, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods for Friday Night SmackDown, which I haven't done in 2 years. Since it's so funny. The season premiere of SmackDown is this coming Friday. The last time I was at SmackDown was the series premiere, Fox-wise. So it's going to be awesome to be back in a SmackDown audience with my brother, which I've never done. Patrick and I have been to a show together, actually sat together, WWE, ever. Maybe 1991 when he was a wee lad doing the tugboat thing with Uncle Fred. Other than that, not together, just two of us ever. So it's gonna be an awesome experience. I'm looking forward to it. Got great. I mean, we got next weekend with the Haddonfield stuff, the weekend after with SmackDown, and the weekend after, I'm on a big giant boat with a lot of AEW people and a lot of people I've known for 20 years and I haven't seen in forever. I am, dude.
And your dad.
Huh?
And your dad.
And my dad. Yeah, exactly. Dude, October, for all that this year has kind of been a big giant shithole, man, October's getting a lot better. But as I say that, I have a cold chicken bacon ranch sub. That ain't going to be pretty going down. I got to get at least a little bit of oven time on this thing. So I appreciate being included in this show every month. And I appreciate the fact that I'm allowed to go 2.5 on stuff that's not even mine. Because,
we don't usually go this long, but we've got the free time today. We don't have to worry about Raw coming on. There's a pay-per-view. Oh, yep. Aaron's about to go live.
Right.
We don't have to compete with nothing today. So we were able to stretch things out, dive a little bit deeper into stuff. If you guys enjoyed the format, the way we did things, let us know. We'll try to make sure we can do this every time. Maybe not make it 2.5 hours every time, but
well, there was
at
a lot
least the extensive format the way we did it,
Right.
Because it doesn't feel like it's been 2.5 hours to me. I mean, I'm looking at the ticker, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, this very much feels like that episode of Raw a couple weeks ago where it was 3 hours. Really? Wow, that went quick. It was awesome. So I loved it. And I probably have people freaking out. You told us 90 minutes. Yeah, no, sorry guys. Sorry, fam. My bad.
Hey, we've still got 3 people watching.
That's right.
At least one of them is my lady still. So,
Right. I love it. I did.
Shout out to you, babe, for tuning in. I appreciate that. Yes.
But definitely come back tomorrow on the Renegades channel because let's see, October 3rd. I'm trying to remember which. Just don't tell me. Let me think for a minute. Hunchback, right?
Yes.
There you go. Silent Hunchback, as it was intended to be. There it is. Lon Chaney in a Hunchback movie. That's tremendous. I love it.
And then on Monday,
Senior, folks.
Then on Monday,
oh yeah, baby,
the only Phantom of the Opera.
What do you say?
The last time I saw Natalie, I had to break down to her my reasoning behind the Phantom, and I showed her a picture of Chaney after being unmasked.
Oh yeah,
like this is what the Phantom is supposed to be.
Yes,
and she was like, "Okay, I understand now why you come down so hard on the musical version."
To be fair to Andrew, and I'm gonna sing Weber's praises here for just a second. I know it's your show, but I will say this: he was not the first guy to have a prettier than Chaney Phantom. Claude Rains.
I know.
And the dog's telling me it's time to go potty again, so I must take my leave. Again, I thank you for letting me be part of the Renegade Reviews world because I do enjoy these movies so much. I enjoy talking about them with you so much. I love having you back in my wrestling podcast life these last year and a half. It's been wonderful. I can't wait to break out the bubbly on January 1st and toast the second anniversary. I'm enjoying it.
Exactly. You go ahead and take off, sir. I'm just going to go over really quickly the last couple of ones that I'm going to do leading up till Tuesday. Let's see, that's tomorrow's Sunday, Monday. So on Tuesday will be Bela Lugosi as Count Dracula. Wednesday will be Frankenstein, featuring Jeff Meacham will be joining me for that review. So make sure you guys tune in for that one. I appreciate all of you guys that have tuned in today to join the recap show and watch me and Jeff and our shenanigans. All my loyal fans and viewers out there that tuned in, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All those that are going to tune in later on and watch the replay. I know we had Michael Gonzalez said that he was going to come back and rewatch and catch up.
Yes.
Thank you, Michael, for tuning in. We appreciate that. So for all you that are watching the replay, thank you. We apologize for it going 2.5 hours, but it is what it is, baby. And we will see you guys next time.